I'm going to be attempting to make my first ever skirt. I've had a sewing machine for years, okay, but I've never actually finished a skirt before. The only thing that I've ever sewn and finished is a corset. That is one of the next things that I want to get really good at, but first I really want to perfect a good skirt because I do wear skirts quite often. At the beginning of this video, I did put a little screenshot of the tutorial that I used. I love this girl's tutorials. Have I used any of them except for one? No. But do I spend hours just watching the tutorials and telling myself that I'm going to sew and then not sewing at all? Yes, absolutely, I do. So I definitely recommend her. This part of the skirt I did sew by hand, the part where it's a little scrunchy and floofy. I figured out how to do it on the sewing machine. It's really easy to do on the sewing machine. For some reason, when I was watching the video, I was just a little confused and I wasn't really sure if she did it by hand or not. So I just did it by hand. For me, sewing by hand is what I normally do just because I find it so much easier, but it's also so much more time consuming. So I really want to start learning how to use my sewing machine because I really want to sew more things for myself instead of buying things because it's a lot more customizable and it's just so much more unique. I don't know how else to explain it, but you get what I mean. For the rest of the skirt, though, I did mostly use my sewing machine. It was just that first part that I was a little bit confused about, and she didn't specify whether she used a sewing machine or not, but if you do watch that tutorial and you want to make the skirt, it's definitely very easy just to use a sewing machine. And then I was so confused about this part. So there's this part in the video where she's adding the little part, I don't even know what it's called, that part on the skirt, and she was folding it over, and I was so confused about how she was folding it over for some reason. I'm sure it's very simple. A lot of her videos seem very simple. They don't really seem like super complicated. She explains things very well, but I was just really confused, so I kind of just did my own thing here. If anybody in the comments has watched this video or is going to complete this skirt after watching this video and you understand this part better than I did, please let me know. I kind of just winged it and did my own thing. I do like how it turned out though in the end. I think winging it and doing my own thing still worked out decently well. And here when I was using my sewing machine, I was very, very scared that it wasn't going to work because for some reason, every time that I've tried to use my sewing machine, which is a reason why I've been hesitant on using my sewing machine more often, is because it always jams, and I was so scared it was going to jam this time. This time it did not jam. Sewing the skirt went very, very, very smoothly. This is how it's going so far. I'm not done folding it all over yet. I just sewed the two pieces together, and I'm just going to be folding it over my own way again because I have no idea what she did. Again, sure, it's very simple. Didn't understand. The fabric is very, very pretty. It is not really my style though, but I kind of want to dye it black. I don't know if that's going to work or not because I kind of want to wear it to a tea party for my friend's birthday party, and it's going to be like slightly Bridgerton themed, but not really. So I think a nice floral skirt with a corset and a shirt, if I'm able to hand make it, would turn out very, very well. But I don't know if sewing anything is going to work out. So we'll see. Come along with me for the journey. This is how I folded it over and sewed it. It's a little messed up, you know, it's not perfect, but for my very first skirt, it's going well. It's going well. Still no jams, still sewing smoothly. I had to change the bobbin a couple of times, and I was very scared about that because before I had always done it and I had got the thread tangled when I was trying to put the bobbin back in, but for some reason, maybe it was just the tutorials that I've watched in the past that made it confusing, but I watched a really, really short, 16-second tutorial on how to change a bobbin, and it went very smoothly when I did it this time. I don't know why nothing was going smoothly in the past when I tried using the sewing machine. I don't know if I was just extra stupid back then and I've evolved or what. I don't know. Also, fun fact, I have multiple jobs. One of the jobs that I have is video editing for other people. And funny thing, I just spent 5 hours editing videos for this one person who's great, who's lovely, love working for them. But I spent 5 hours editing videos for them. But the funny thing is, after that, I have to edit my own videos. And I can definitely tell that I'm very burnt out from editing other people's videos when I edit my own videos, because I feel like I do not put as much pizzazz of the Awawa Aria pizzazz into my own videos as I do other people's videos. And maybe that's because I'm not paying myself to make my own videos. I don't know, but it's still fine. It's still fun. I don't want to put too much pressure on my videos. I don't want it to, have to be like super, super serious. But for other people's videos that I'm getting paid for, like, they have to be serious. So, you know what I mean? But anywho, so this part I am just sort of hemming it by hand, just because I don't know how to hem on a sewing machine, and I wanted to, I don't know what I'm saying anymore, guys. It's 5 a.m. and I haven't slept. I just wanted to hem it together so when I sewed both of the skirt pieces together, it fit together better. But obviously, I accidentally sewed the skirt pieces together wrong, so I actually just gave up and didn't hem the inside pieces after this, and I just sewed it together again. It was very hard to take the stitches out because the setting that my sewing machine was set to, the stitches were like very tight, which I like because it keeps the fabric together better. It's very sturdy, but it's very hard to rip it out with a seam ripper. But I was able to do it. You can definitely tell that my eyesight is declining because it was a little hard to see exactly where to use this seam ripper, but I did sew it together again. This time I sewed it together better. Wow, I sewed it together the right way. This is how it is so far. I have one more side left to sew together. But for this side, the very last side, I am going to also have to add a zipper. I've never added a zipper with a sewing machine before. Every time I add a zipper, it never looks as good as other people when they add a zipper to their projects. But I did watch what the girl was doing. She didn't like explain in detail how to add a zipper, so I kind of just did my own thing because I figured if this skirt doesn't work out, it's okay, because I'll just get some fabric from a thrift store and keep making the skirt over and over again until it's perfected. But I did add the zipper with the sewing machine. It went better than expected, for sure. It doesn't look perfect. It definitely does not look perfect, but it went a lot better than I thought it was going to go, and it looks a lot better than other zippers that I've hand sewed in the past. I don't know. Maybe if someone's watching this and they sew a lot, they're gonna be like, oh my god, this zipper looks horrible. But to me, because this is my very first skirt I've ever sewed, I'm like, you know what, it doesn't look that bad. So the progress is going very, very well so far. It's not perfect. There's a few little parts where it's like, you can tell that this is not store-bought, but that's okay. It looks super, super cute on. I was trying it on. It is a little bit too long for my liking. Yeah, you can tell that the zipper's like a little wonky, and I didn't really have a perfect color match, so I just picked a random color. The skirt's a little bit longer than skirts that I normally wear, so I am going to hem it to shorten it. And hemming it for that is pretty easy just because I fold it over, and there's so much fabric that I can just like fold it over in large pieces and then just sew it. I'm a big fan of hemming skirts, even skirts that I already own, just because I am shorter. So not every skirt that I own is too long on me, but some skirts that I own are a little bit too long. So I like hemming them because, one, it makes the skirt more to my liking, and two, it makes the skirt's fabric weigh down just a little bit, so that way it doesn't flow up as much in the wind. Like, I always wear shorts under my skirts, but I still would prefer it if they stay down. So I do feel like hemming it and folding pieces of fabric over multiple times and then hemming it does weigh it down just a little bit. So this is how it turned out. There's like a few pieces that aren't perfectly even, because when I was sewing the skirt together, like there, it's not even. The skirt pieces weren't cut super evenly, and that was also because I was using fabric from a thrift store that just wasn't super even in general, and I was just trying to go off the fabric that I had. But I think it turned out well for doing my first skirt for sure, and in the end, you definitely like can't tell. Well, At least to me. I wouldn't be able to tell that the skirt length isn't super even all around, and I think I did a good job at hemming it to be as even as I could get it to be. But then here I am attempting to dye it black with fabric dye to make it more to my liking, because the next thing I want to do with the rest of the fabric that I don't have a lot of fabric left, but I want to try to sew an underbust corset, and then I have other fabric from a thrift store that's also floral that I want to try to sew a shirt with, like a wrap around top with. Now, did this dye work? No. Has it worked in the past? Yes. I don't know what type of fabric this is. I don't know why it didn't work this time. It just kind of made the skirt look dirty. So after I filmed this video, I am in the process of removing the dye from it with stain remover, and I'm gonna try to wash it and just leave it as is, maybe give it to my mom or something, see if I can style it in a way that I like. But yeah, it didn't work, which is so sad, because I really was hoping that I could get it to work and be a little bit darker so it would be more my style, but that's okay. I want to go to the thrift store this weekend and see if I can find some fabric so I can potentially make a really cool outfit for my friend's little birthday tea party. It's not for another month, so I have some time, but I don't know, I'm in a creative mood now, but maybe I won't be in a week, so we'll see. But yeah, the fabric dye that I used, RIT fabric dye, sucks personally, and it stains so much, so I just used like a generic fabric dye that I found on Amazon, and I just dilute it with water. It's worked so great in the past. I've used it to dye purses and pillows and other stuff like that, but it just did not work on the skirt. I don't know why, because I don't feel like the fabric is that different than other materials that I used. Maybe I needed to wash it first, which is something that I did actually forget to do, because you're supposed to wash fabric before you put it through fabric dye, but it's worked in the past before without doing that, so I don't know. But when I was looking at it in the process, it looked like it was going to turn out okay. It wasn't as dark as I was hoping that it would get, but it looked like it was like gonna come out okay. It looked like it was just going to be like a darker floral skirt, and the zipper was dyeing really nicely. I was like, oh, I'm so excited. It's going to come out so nicely. It did not. But anywho, yeah, if anybody has any other skirt patterns that are free, because I'm not paying for a pattern, and I don't really like printing out patterns, which is why I love Style by Remy. I love her channel so much, because typically you don't have to print out patterns. You just measure yourself and you measure the fabric, and boom, done. But yeah, this is how it turned out. Not looking good. Again, I am in the process of removing the black dye from it, but anyways, that was my process of making my very first skirt. I am happy with the results. Will I wear it? Probably not. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.